thing that I like to do to get myself out of the computers and all the number crunching that I do for a daily living. And I do a lot of digital photography, and that's kind of, it has to be there because you can't transport a large format camera everywhere nowadays anymore, conveniently at least. So I do that, but I like to do a lot of silver prints because that takes me away from the computer for a while, and I can do something that touches and feels real, and get some stains on my hands, and it feels good somehow. And that old process of seeing the picture emerge, it kind of is very rewarding for me, and that's why I wanted to concentrate on showing only the silver prints. And I don't even print digital that often, it just stays in the digital graveyard, and we just look at it on a screen once in a while. That's what, so most of the things that get mounted or printed at all are the silver ones. So with that, and I have to thank my wife for putting up with the hours that I am not present taking care of the 4-year-old. I will start going through the photographs. We'll probably come to this at the end. I messed up where I wanted to start putting it, so the last picture kind of wrapped around and came here. So I'll start with these. So most of them are, I don't shoot any specific genre. I shoot what I find, and if it looks appealing, something that I want to put it up on my wall, then I would make a picture. And so I don't have anything in target that I want to shoot this kind or that kind, or so it's whatever presents itself, and I feel like, okay, I want this to hang on my wall for a while, and I want to stare at it for a while, or it attaches a memory to itself, or it's a story that I want to remember for a long time. So that's what is behind these pictures. May not be amazing pictures. I try to make them look as good as I can, and I'm still learning. There are a lot of dots and blemishes that need to be touched up, and I haven't got into the art of touching it up yet. I'm trying to learn. I'm still in the trash bin pictures, trying to make sure that I can do the touch up right. So going past those things, let's start with this one. So this is in the Antelope Canyon, in the Slot Canyon. The experience there was quite exciting because I was trying to fit in through a 2-foot slot with my dimensions and a 4x5 cambo. It was quite a challenge, and just entering the Slot Canyon was a challenge itself because I had to kind of enter this way and holding the cambo up this way so that we don't stack our dimensions together. This picture was shot from, I found a tomb when I got myself raised, and just the day I entered, the previous 2 days, it was blocked out due to flash flooding. So though I got the photographer strip, there were like 30 people in there because they were stacked up queue from all the trips that were cancelled. So I'm like, okay, how do I get a clean picture in that? Though they worked with us a lot to kind of keep the crowd away. So anyway, I got an elevated platform and I wanted to take this picture. The dynamic range was about 14 stops over there. It was a challenge. And so I think I got the 5th print right. So I trashed the other prints. The thing behind this picture was, this is the passage. And this was very dark, and obviously this was very bright. Sun was coming in right through the slot. And this passage formed a kind of a complete object. I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a heart to me, and sometimes it looks like something else to me sometimes. But the fact is that it's the opposite tonalities, like almost opposite tonalities, that make a complete shape. That's what was very appealing to me in that picture. So among the other antelope pictures I had, I wanted to keep this one. So I picked a day which was extremely bad weather, cold and horrible day. So I thought, okay, not many tourists will be there, and I was right. So I had a kind of an empty floor inside the shop, and I got this gentleman making some pots. It's a kind of dimly lit, gloomy environment. He just has a spotlight. He was working on the whole thing was very appealing. So I quickly took a shot. I do intend to get back and maybe give them a print just to say thank you, because they were very nice and helped me set up and tear down and things like that. And of course we didn't tell him what we were doing, so that we got a candid shot. So this picture is, there's a place in Arizona called the Ghost Town. I know there's somebody from Arizona here. Maybe, I saw it in the list. So anyway, there's a place called Ghost Town. It's near Phoenix, like, you drive 50 minutes or so. This whole town had come under, it used to be a gold mine, and something happened and everybody in the town died. So the town kind of was kept in the dilapidated condition. They have a few of the buildings opened up where there are like novelty shops. They have a working church. If you look closely, the timings of the church is posted here. And they have an ice cream shop and things like that. So it's become a tourist attraction. They run a train that goes around the town. It's beautiful to see, and I feel because of the texture and the archaic nature of everything, it feels like a large format heaven. So I do have a few pictures. This picture is special to me because the person sitting there is my dad. So every time I have my dad in during a photo trip, I always take one portrait where he sits and poses in one of the settings. And so this is one of such images. So I wanted to keep that here, and it always, somehow makes me feel happy. So we had a hat and we got him to pose there. And he used to be a photographer. I started out with his camera. So I didn't have to tell him what to do. I said, you have to be in this picture. So he just took the spot and posed and did everything he had to do. Like, okay, great picture. There's nothing to do. It was easy. So this is of the solar eclipse that we had a couple of years ago. So I went to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. That's another long story of how we got there, camped out on the roadside for the night, waiting for the right spot and everything. Finally, and there were like 200,000 people in a town that generally has, I think, 30 or 40,000 people. And they did a great job in managing the crowd and the traffic, and the mayor had set up everything because that was supposed to be the epicenter for the eclipse, the point where the eclipse was supposed to be the longest duration. So this is from that, and so I got the diamond. So this is not a montage. This is from just one negative. So in the attempt to make multiple negatives, I was switching negatives and making exposures. So I had a set of negatives that led into the eclipse, and then I had a set of negatives that led out of the eclipse. With a 210 on 4x5, I could get like about 45 degrees, and the eclipse was almost like 90 degrees. So I decided to cut it in two different segments, so I could get one half in one negative and one half in the other negative. So this is where the eclipse is ending. So I got the diamond ring on this one negative. I'm lucky that I didn't spoil it. And then my intent was to do it at equal intervals, but with all that going on, and of course the digital camera doing its thing on the side, I messed up the periodicity of taking the picture, and of course I didn't get a very uniform timing, but maybe next time I'll get more lucky. So while we look through all these, many old things and so on, I wanted to kind of take a break from all that and get back to technology a little bit. So there is this place near, so I work in GM. Near our workplace there is this GM Heritage Center that's open for events, and generally we have our award ceremonies there, and there is no general access to that place. So for a few years I've been thinking, okay, whenever I get an award I go there, I see these, I take a few cell phone pictures and come back. But finally I verified that taking pictures over there is allowed, unlike any other GM facility. So I said, okay, if you are going to allow me to take picture, I'm going to take it all the way. So I brought in my large format gear next time, this year when I went for one of the ceremonies. And I shot a few, and so this is one of the cars that participated in the autonomous driving event with Carnegie Mellon and GM collaboration. This car won the event. They successfully could drive autonomously from the airport to some location and back. They had a long circuit, and this car had won. And so this is kept along with the other classic cars in the museum. The reason I like this picture is if you look at the size of the sensors, the cameras are like this big, like CCTV cameras, and the radars are like big blocks like this. These sensors are obsolete, they're gone. Nowadays, these many sensors are there, but it's all built in, and like in neat packaging, small packaging and so on. So you won't get to see this ugly face of how things all started out. So I wanted to keep that to remember where the autonomous driving first event was a success and what kind of sensors we could see. So with that I end the stories for my pictures, and if there's something you feel to discuss, then we can.
You seem to have a lot of fun with this. If you didn't have to work full-time, would you be doing this full-time?
No, probably not. One, because if I did this full-time, then it would become work, and maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit less. And I love technology, so then that would have become a hobby, and then maybe it would have become a harder thing to fund this with that as the hobby and this as the main thing. It's kind of a harder market. So anyway, so the technology came first, and this was kind of I'm doing this for the last 10, 15 years, photography.
So what, go ahead, Peter.
I love the fact that your work, the photos you brought today, they're very fluid, and I love the fact that you're willing to take chances. Okay, so when I started using a large format camera, when I was young, I started like maybe when I was 17 years old. I noticed that a lot of the photographs that I had taken at that time, I was willing to go balls to the walls. I probably didn't know what the hell I was doing, but a lot of those pictures. And you have that here. You have like a very okay, it's Niagara Falls. I'm not saying good or bad or indifferent, but you were willing to go and stand on that damn precipitous, whatever, and the same thing with the star pictures. It's all fabulous. Don't lose that childlike inventiveness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's sometimes when we keep photographing, we do things for a long time, we disconnect from that whole fluidity thing. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, all right, we know how to load the film holder, we know how to develop the film, all that stuff. But getting back to that childlike innocence is like, so you have it. You're like, just keep doing what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Actually,
very much.
to extend that note, I did have some pictures that I shot from a cruise. So we took a cruise to Alaska,
Yeah.
and that time I had the Nikon D40, which was a 5 megapixel camera. And if I'm going to do a cruise, I'm not going to shoot it on a 5 megapixel camera. I need to take my large format out. So I had. So anyway, I spoke to some people who had taken the cruise before, and they said, yeah, it shakes, it vibrates a lot. That was my first cruise. I had no experience. So I said, okay, if it vibrates, then we need to get some sorbitol gels and stuff. So I got some tripod shoes, sorbitol gels, everything set up. I do have some nice pictures from the deck. It was vibrating, pictures came sharp. I shot 400, of course, to be safe. I didn't bring that picture there because at the time I was getting my negatives developed. So it wasn't a whole process. So it was a half lab product, and the print was mine, of course. I wanted to keep everything where I developed the negatives. So if there's a flaw we want to point out, I can learn from it. It's a process that I control. So.
I love the way that did you see that figure? The old wood, the tree. It's like this. Like you were mentioning something about dying of thirst, being thirsty or something. It just seems like the resting place of some like mythical unicorse or something. It's just in situ, in place, and it just really. Now, did you see that kind of figure initially, or did you see it later?
No, I saw it when I looked at the tree.
Right.
Yeah, since it was stormy, I didn't take my camera out till I was sure that I wanted to do something.
But did it make that impression on you right away, or was there something else about it that you responded to?
It's kind of exactly that was appealing. So before I took the camera out, I kind of positioned myself and said, okay, this is where I want my tripod. And then I went and placed the camera. I did make a few little bit adjustment to get the field of view right, but I wanted to get that kind of an effect of something, dead and the shadow, and if I could get some sand particles blasting at it, that would be nice. That didn't happen in in the film one. I do have some sandstorm pictures I took in the digital where you can see the cloud rising from the earth. It was.
So in,
Oh, I'm sorry, you were first.
that's fine. In the Potter picture.
Yeah.
Potter, what attracted you to that?
It's the mood. It's the mood of the picture, and I like the art of how things are made, and this gentleman had a very focused attention, and the expression was very good, and the lighting. I mean, of course, there was a lot of background lighting, but he was in a spotlight, and I wanted to shoot it in a way that it would be dark, and the focus is just on him and his work. And everything is, so the other stuff that's finished are kind of around him blurred out. And so I just wanted to have the hand and the face in focus.
Right.
I could have done more to probably accentuate just the hand and the face, or maybe if I print it bigger, it'll look that way.
That's up to you.
Yes.
It's the mood of it, though.
Yeah.
That's a word that I wanted to hear, and you got it,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, going back to the mood, you certainly have, highlights and darkness, so you got a contrast of everything. But your presentation, I can't help but keep smiling with you because of that genuine excitement of being able to do that, because you enjoy it and you love it. And you got some great work, and it kind of shows through. It's not just a mechanical thing. It's like, hopefully this whole weekend is the print represents how we feel, and it shows through. So I'm smiling just because I'm happy with you to be able to share your images. I mean, this is fantastic. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
You got goosebumps. So it's just
I do have to acknowledge our we have an annual print review. It's the Midwest Large Format Asylum, and that annual thing that happens in January, it motivates us to print. So December, so whole year I'm shooting, and then there's a rush to print in December and January, just because we have to meet the deadline for the print review. And I'm glad that they do that, so I can make some prints. So I didn't have to do anything special for today. It's all the collection from 2 years of doing that.
We'll give you a new deadline.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thought process of I'm trying to first of all figure out what works best. Everybody tells me that the white works best, and I do agree with for most of the pictures where the whites work best. But when I saw these pictures and I put them on a white mat, especially these two, I found that the white was kind of overpowering because the dark was so dark, and I wanted to put more emphasis on the dark part of the picture, and I wanted the only things to stand out to be the stars.